land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Raiders! What's good, man? We back, man, for another edition of the 50 and 50 Show, man. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. Hey, you already know it's a late night show with me, myself, PharoahNFL, and obviously the Severe Raider. Make sure to clock in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, we're going live on both our channels, so you want to make sure you like both videos that's going live on both our channels, as well as, you know, notification bell and all that good stuff. And subscribe, man, if you haven't already, man. So we appreciate everybody coming through, man. We got a lot to talk about. The majority of it is recently, obviously, Davante Adams dropped that documentary. He was one of the receivers that were talked about, one of the best in the game. But everybody was kind of waiting to see what his reaction would be during the season, especially when McDaniels, and we wanted to know a little bit behind the scenes what was said during the game and stuff like that. So that was kind of good to see. But we'll talk about that. That's the majority of what we're going to talk about. Flag on the play, all that good stuff, man. But before we continue, man, we gotta get into get into the night crew, man. We appreciate everybody coming through, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Drew in the building already, man. He says, what's up, Pharaoh? Severe, man. Appreciate you coming through. What's good, man?
What's good,
hey,
Drew?
Appreciate the support, man. First one in the building, man. Appreciate you. Lee, man. Hey, all right. And then we got Doppelganger. He says, let's go, man. I appreciate you coming through. He says, salute nation. Hey, man, my guy Raider Resistance in the building, man. Digital Prez, man. Appreciate you coming through. One of the best IGs out there. Make sure to check him out. One of the hardest workers, man. He's over here dropping content.
Man.
Right, man.
Man, you ain't lying.
But yeah, man, let's get into it, man. Like, so recently, obviously, I think, was it late last week? Because I got caught up over the weekend and watching a few, like pretty much watching the documentary. But what were your thoughts overall of the receivers documentary? Because we knew last season there was a quarterback documentary, and then this version of the documentary series was based off the receivers, specifically wide receiver and tight ends. I think you want to list out some of the players that were on there. Deebo Samuels, obviously the tight end for San Francisco,
George Kittle,
and obviously Davante Adams, Justin Jefferson. Hey, man, talented crew right there.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I forgot about him as well. Like he was definitely a big time character out there for the Detroit Lions. A good receiver, talented receiver. What were your thoughts of the overall documentary?
I mean, I think they did a good job, man. It was well put together. It was good to see some of the behind the scenes with these guys. Especially with Jets, seeing seeing his rehab process a little bit. Then seeing Amon-Ra St. Brown, the kind of stuff his dad was doing. His dad's a character, man. His dad's a character for sure. Yeah. But just the kind of work, how long they've been putting work in, man. So. It was interesting, man. I think they did a really good job. It was tasteful. It was well edited. We do have some issues with certain games that weren't included in the series, but I think we'll get to that later. But overall, man, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, facts, man. And yeah, like I thought it was well done. I thought that, man, they included a lot of stuff, man. Like we didn't really get to hear, obviously, during the game. We're so focused on the game, and sometimes the production or the network, whatever, the game, they leave out certain things. I think they do that on purpose. They do that on purpose to leave out certain things because they could easily kind of show that during the game or whatever, but they kind of save it and they come out with sounds of the game. You know what I mean? Like, and they have that during the season, but I think they kind of made a whole documentary series following the players off the field, on the field. Kind of seeing their thought process. You could see how they move and they think about certain things. Before I go on, man, my guy Raider Smoke, man, he knows how to come in and show some support over here, man. Appreciate the super chat. My guy, got you, man. Appreciate it, man. Raider Smoke, man, in the building, man. As you can see, he's a mod here. It's that time once again. Hope everyone is having a blessed Monday. Likewise, brother. Y'all bring in the heat with the lids today. Hey, man, we trying, man. You know what I mean? We got to, man. We gotta change it up every now and then. You know what I mean? We gotta change it up. It's the off season, but
I left my usual red one. I left my red one in the car, man. But I usually right.
Yes, Severe usually got the red ones, man.
I stay with the red one, man.
That's hilarious, and usually people be hated for some reason because you wearing that red.
Hate the red hat, bro.
That's funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, man, Doppelganger says it was my birthday. Hey, man, happy belated, man. Happy birthday, brother. He says, can I get one of those badass Raider hats? Hey, you know what? I might have to do that, bro. I gotta figure out a way to do like some type of raffle at some point, especially when I hit some big numbers. I know Severe is on his way too as well. So yeah, definitely. That's actually a pretty good idea, man. We might have to make that one of these days and try to see if we can do a little raffle. Yeah, I got you. Hey, hit me up on IG. And I got you. I can send you a link. And at the very least, too, hopefully we'll do a raffle. I'll keep that in mind as far as like having hats as one of the prizes too as well. Because hey, man, that's part of the little gear that you wear to the game. Every now and then, if you're wearing a hat, if you're a hat guy like myself, I definitely got y'all, man. Eric Chavez says they be stupid to trade DAA. That's another thing too. And we'll get it. We'll get into it right now. He kind of started it off. So there's a little bit of talk. It's around that time. It's picking up right now because around the corner training camp is going to start. We're not too far away from that. I don't know if you remember the report date for the rookies and veterans.
Rookies is the 21st. Veterans the 23rd.
Okay, yeah. So there you have it. It's not too far away, and then they're still trying to. I don't know if they're trying to speak this into existence, but I see some of these news outlets talk about Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and we'll get into some of that. We got something to talk about, like Randy Moss. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, I think I just don't believe it right now. I don't believe it. I think Davante is fully bought in. I seen some of these rumors out of some of these news outlets and social media, and they're over here talking about, there's rumors that Davante could most likely be traded, and it's all speculation at the end of the day. Like if this happens, then Davante is gonna get traded. Come on, man. But I will say this: there was a moment, and just to get into just bring it back to the documentary. There was a moment where Davante was talking about the change from quarterback from Jimmy G to AOC, and he was like, man, if that didn't happen, I don't know how long I would have been with the team. Read between the lines. Hey, man, for a lot of you guys are like, Davante's a Raider for life. Like, no. I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
He wants to win. He's been spoiled for most of his career with one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure he misses that. He's gotten paid, so if he can go somewhere and get paid and play with a pretty good quarterback, hopefully he's with the Raiders. I don't even want to put that in a universe, man. I want to put that in a universe. That Red Raider had as far. Hey, man.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You the only, literally the only person. Literally the only person, bro.
Hey, man. Look at that. There's some love right there, man. Appreciate it, bro.
For sure. But yeah, man, no player is untouchable, man. This is the NFL. Peyton Manning got traded. You feel me? Randy Moss got traded.
Yep.
Tom Brady got cut. It's like no player is untouchable. So for us to even have that thought, first of all, we need to just get that out of our minds. Because, as I said before, Khalil Mack got traded. You feel me? Like
right.
no player is untouchable. You're only as good as your usefulness to the team. And if your usefulness to the team is to bring assets and draft capital and cap savings, then they will jettison you in an instant. So, I try not to get too attached to these guys. And then you said Davante. I don't he's saying all the right things now. But in the middle of last year, he was talking about, possibly getting up out of here. Then at the end of the season, when they were making their coaching decisions, he was saying that if they didn't make the right decision, he might have tried to get up out of here as well. So, I'm like I said, for the right price, anybody can be had.
Well, look, hey, Raider Smoke, he makes a good point right here. He says, would it be crazy thought to think that A-Rod might be coming to the Raiders? How long is that contract? And I just pulled up a little bit. Let's see if I could pull this up here so for y'all to see. So this is Spot Track. Take a look at his contract right here. Let me see. Is it how long is he signed with the Jets? Woo. So technically speaking, okay, so he signed until 2026. But I don't think the Jets, there's no way. No way the Jets. If Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, if he's anything close to that, I don't think the Jets are going to trade him. It would have to be something crazy happening. I don't know. Let's take a look at the contract right here. See if I can share the screen for you guys to see. Let's see here. Y'all see this? I don't know if y'all can see this.
Make it
a little bigger.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Pause.
Yeah, definitely pause. All right, so you can see 2024. He had, after that, it's one more season under contract, and there's a 2026 not guaranteed. You see that? Those last 2 years, and those. So Hey, it might be a possibility. It could be a possibility. I mean, right now the Raiders, you can't say for 100% that we're super solid at quarterback. We got some guys right now that's competing for that position, but right now you can predict that, hey, we might go after a veteran. We can go after next year's draft class. We might be able to get a quarterback from there. There's a lot of different possibilities, but I don't know, at age 42, Aaron Rodgers, is he a Tom Brady as far as taking care of his body? I don't know. We kind of knew without a doubt that Tom Brady, like, he lived and breathed the game. Like, that's what he did. Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure, is his body going to hold up? I mean, he's literally coming back from Achilles injury, which is crazy. So, I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's a risk. That's a huge risk for what it would take to get him. I think the risk would outweigh the reward, especially if you're only going to be getting them for a short period of time. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then that cap hit, you got like a $50 million contract. Davante's contract is going to explode pretty soon. Max is going to be coming up for another payday pretty soon, and he's going to get a super fat deal. You might have to end up paying Merrick and maybe Nate Hobbs, maybe Spillane, and maybe Kuntz. So all these, and Coach Miller is going to be coming up soon as well. So it's like, do you really want a quarterback that's that old making that much money when you got all these other guys you're going to end up having to pay pretty soon, or conceivably you may want to pay pretty soon?
It wouldn't be a long contract for sure. That would be quarterback in their 40s, 1 year, maybe 2 years max. Even though it's Aaron Rodgers, you're not going to give him like a 4 or 5 year deal.
No.
43 years old, 42 years old. Like, come on, let's be real. But that being said, in a perfect world, we get a quarterback in the draft, and he becomes a franchise quarterback. He's on a rookie deal. We get to build a all-star team around him because we can pay other players, because he's not getting paid that big money quarterback money that some of these quarterbacks are getting nowadays. So that's the best case scenario. But when you got someone as proven as Aaron Rodgers, and if he continues to play well, because hey, at the end of the day, the other side to it is that technology is different, medicine is different. Players are playing longer, especially quarterbacks. They're protected to the point where they have longer careers. I don't know if Tom Brady would play into his 40s like he did if he was playing maybe back in the 90s or 80s. Like that, the quarterback position is protected for sure.
Exactly.
Raider Resistance says the media has completely flipped and twisted DA wants out narrative so badly. Yeah, they're just trying to start something. That's all they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They trying to.
But it's that time of the year though. I mean, it's not a lot of news coming out of the NFL. So this is one of the league's biggest stars on one of the most notable franchises that has a fairly engaged fan base. So they're throwing some red meat out there.
Yeah, and Alex makes a good point. He says they got to make a new deal next season with Tay. Yeah, facts, man. He's about to get like what, 40-something million or 50 million next year. So I'll look it up real quick, but it's something crazy. It's a huge number, and if we're not winning and Davante's getting paid that much, you kind of can predict what's going to happen next. Like, all right, something got to give. Either you renegotiate that contract, or we're just going to have to. The Raiders are going to have to trade you to the highest bidder.
Definitely.
But yeah, man, hey, make good comments so far. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Alex says a lot of Raiders receiving targets. Spacey's talking about the red hat Severe. Is that not a red hat Severe? He ain't wearing it today. He is not wearing it today. But Alex says lots of Raiders receiving targets this season. That can make a difference in the red zone. Exciting. Madison got a nose for the red zone too. Hey man, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, man. I hope that we can finally capitalize in the red zone, because I don't even remember the last time we've been a top 10 or top 15. I think we talked about it in previous shows. Back 2016 or 2017. I think it was the last time we were on the plus side.
Yeah.
Like like it was at least top 15 in the red zone percentages, which it's been quite a while. So we got to get back with all those big time receiver options, especially big targets. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to be at least in the top half of the season. But some of that has to do with play calling, some of that has to do with quarterback play. We'll see what happens next season, and the run game too. Zamir White, man, that he's gonna have to be a big part of the next season too, and hopefully Madison, if he comes into and gives us some good carries out there, man. Hey, man, that's good to see. Man, we got everybody coming through, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. So let's move it along. So let's talk about Davante a little bit from that documentary. Everybody was kind of looking forward to what he was gonna say and what he was gonna do, and was he gonna say something crazy, especially last season, the way it happened, and Josh McDaniels, all that good stuff. I'll play a clip here, and then from here I'm gonna have to get because Davante went crazy here, man. Let's see if I'm manually doing this, man. The censor button. I'm telling you right now, this is y'all getting some exclusive stuff. Y'all haven't seen it already. Let's see if I can pull it up. All right, Davante Adams here. Let's see. Oh, damn. Let's see if I could move it here. Here we go. Yeah, Davante right here. All right. Here we go. All right.
Get that button ready.
I'm getting that button ready. All right.
I gotta get the fuck out of here before I lose my fucking life. I ain't never been hit this many fucking times in my career. Every game I get fucked up. Fuck. What is he doing out there?
That button ain't doing nothing, bro.
Garoppolo into the deep territory, looking for Adams, and he missed him. He was all alone.
That will be as open as Davante is going to be in his life.
Wide open.
This shit is fucking pathetic, bro.
Just threw a fucking ball, man. Fuck.
You gotta.
Tired of this fucking bullshit. Fuck. I gotta get the fuck out of here,
Oh, man, I gotta get it.
What was that censor button, bro? Is that that censor button's a deuce? What you got a deuce? What is that?
Man, he was going crazy. That was the game that we seen Davante, like, he was obviously visibly frustrated at other games, but I think that one was a big one on national television, Monday Night Football against Detroit Lions, and predictably after the game, or that Tuesday, I believe it was was it Halloween night? I think it might have been Halloween night. That Josh McDaniels got fired after the game. Yeah. So, but you seen the frustration of Davante. Like, it was like visibly frustrated. He was frustrated with the quarterback, obviously, Jimmy G. There was a clip there where that when they did make that quarterback change, he made comments I talked about earlier about how, like, that move needed to happen, and I don't know how long he would have stayed on the team if they didn't make a change, which kind of made me raise my eyebrow a little bit. Like, oh, okay. So Davante's looking at, like, the Raiders in the situation, and, like, hey, he's kind of ready to. He's not afraid to be like, hey, I need to get out of here. He's not. It's not like it's not a situation where I look at, let's say, for example, Max Crosby, and be like, Max is gonna be Raider for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could tell, like, he wants to be a Raider. And I'm not saying Davante doesn't, but I can see Davante leaving more than I could see Max Crosby leaving, if that makes sense. But yeah, man, it was pretty good. I mean, a lot of it is what we kind of already knew. We seen a little bit of Davante outside of the football field, stuff like that. But it was kind of, you can see how competitive he is. Great player, obviously. But what were your thoughts on some of these things that, especially the big moments like this, like from Davante?
Yeah, man, it's like I'm of two minds. Man, I can understand the frustration, but like some of that stuff you gotta like some of that stuff you gotta keep yourself under control, bro. Especially in those situations where the bullets is flying, because when you have a guy that has that kind of power within the organization, and he's like being very public with that kind of stuff, and those those overt expressions of emotion and frustration, that makes guys start pressing. And when guys start pressing, they start making mistakes. So, perfect example, right? You think about it, like just in a series, right? There was a game earlier in the season against Pittsburgh where Davante, I think it was similar to that situation where he kind of hit a double move, and I guess Jimmy was expecting him to do one thing, and Davante did another thing. So Jimmy threw it up, and it got intercepted. So you see right there, what happened was Jimmy hesitated on the throw instead of just throwing it.
Yeah.
And that's because earlier in the year, when that happened against Pittsburgh, Davante, threw a fit. So like all that stuff is, you have to make all these calculations, especially when you're that kind of player, because what you do not only affects you, but it affects everybody around you. So you can see guys coming up to him, like you see like Brian Hoyer, like at one point Brian Hoyer's like, oh yeah, I got you, I just don't want to throw it right there, I don't want to throw an interception, yada yada. They're coming over, I'm doing my job, bro. I shouldn't have to explain why I'm doing my job to you, but since you're acting this way, I feel obligated to explain it to you, because now I feel you have some kind of issue. So I don't know like how that chemistry is going to be affected because of how you're acting. So it's like, bro, it's like, but I understand, like I said, I understand this frustration, but at the same time, bro, like you're a grown ass man, you're a professional football player, keep that stuff in check. Come over, talk to the dude, like, yo, bro, in this situation, you got to throw it. You got to hit me. I know we haven't had a lot of time on task. You missed all the training camp, but but bro, you gotta throw that pass. Like, handle it like that. Don't be on the sideline like cussing and like, I mean, like bro, like I said, I could say more stuff, but I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to say more. I don't want to say more stuff, because then it's gonna get into another territory where I'm insulting. But it's like, bro, you gotta keep that stuff in check, bro. Like, you gotta keep that stuff in check, man.
Yeah. No, Davante definitely has a little bit of diva to him. Like, it's not crazy. It's not like Randy Moss, T.O., but there's a little bit of like, that receiver diva, like, give me the ball, like, come on.
Yeah.
But like, and also there's other side Davante, if you want to keep it real, like, he's played with Aaron Rodgers most of his career, so his standard is so high that he's never seen the quarterback plays of guys like AOC and Minshew and all these other guys and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's Jimmy G, and if you're going to base it off last season. And the thing is, Davante even pointed out, like, hey, the fact that, like, as soon as Jimmy G signed, he had to get foot surgery.
Exactly.
So right there and then, that was terrible.
Exactly.
Which, that's on the previous regime. Like, what are you doing signing the guy where he's having off-season foot surgery the day you sign him? He's going to have a surgery? Like, that's that super big risk, which didn't work out. That's a whole different conversation, but we already been through that. It is what it is. They're gone now. But yeah, no, I hear you. But, Davante has a little bit of diva in him, for sure, without a doubt, man. So, but that being said, if man, I mean, who would you see as the most low-key receiver that, like, I mean, I say Davante low-key, but
most low-key?
Larry Fitzgerald, I feel like.
Megatron. Marvin Harrison on the field. Marvin Harrison off the field. What's different? But Marvin Harrison on the field, like you said, Larry Fitzgerald is another guy. That was low key. I mean, there are some guys that are low key. But it's. I mean, part of being that position, like when you're out there on the island, that's like like it's you one-on-one, so you gotta kind of have that confidence in yourself. But like, I don't mind, like, I do having confidence. I don't even mind dude talking trash, none of that stuff. But it's like when it goes over the top like that. Like, perfect example, like I remember last year or 2 years ago now, when like we were playing the Chiefs and we hit Davante on the sideline, but it wasn't ruled as a catch because Davante bobbled the ball, so then it got ruled incomplete. And then on the last play of the game, Davante ran the wrong route and ran into Hunter Renfrow and caused the incompletion. So like, what if Derek Carr at the time, Derek Carr ain't got no sack like that. But what if the quarterback was like, man, what the heck are you doing? Like that's a pass. You should have caught that pass. How would he take issue with that? So as he should, right? Or like, bro, like, why are you running the wrong route? We've been all through all this training camp. This is what game of the season? You don't know what route to run? Like came at him like that. Like, how would he feel, right? So it's like, bro, you save all those histrionics for another time, bro. Like, just go out there, ball. If you got an issue, get to the sideline, talk to the dude like a grown man. Like, don't be on the sideline throwing a hissy fit. Like it's.
Yeah, I mean, no, facts. And the thing is, and I see where you're coming from too, because he's I think he's a captain on the team. He's one of the leaders, obviously one of the faces of the Raiders. You know what I mean? Like Davante is that guy. You made a point before in previous shows that he's probably the most well-known player on the team. So for him to outwardly do that, I don't think it's the best look. But that being said, I still like Tay Adams, man. I think he's a good dude. And I like him. You can tell the team loves him. Players on the team like him. So it's not, we're just overanalyzing a little bit here. But Daniel Kim said censor button on tape. They're like, hey, man, I tried my best, man. He was just going crazy during that scene. I'm like, but it was such a good clip and just was pretty much sums up how Davante Adams felt last season as far as, where it went, how bad it went with, Josh McDaniels. But there were some good clips too. And I think Prez, Raider Resistance says, I posted every DA segment on my page as soon as the documentary dropped. Hey, there you go. So if y'all trying to get straight to the point, hey, just head over to Raider Resistance on IG and y'all be able to see every clip instead of just going through, the entire documentary series. But if you want, but it was a pretty good documentary. So if you want to watch like a little bit of Deebo Samuels, the Kittles, and Justin Jefferson, which I thought was interesting, and his mindset, his alter ego. Like Justin Jefferson, man, he's that dude right now. Would you say he surpassed Davante as the number one receiver in the NFL?
Yeah. Being honest, yeah.
Yeah, because he's a younger.
Look at his numbers, bro. Like he put up 1,000 yards last year. He missed like 8 games. He still put up 1,000, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
He had better quarterback play though than Davante.
That too. That too. But
better quarterback player, better play caller, better offense. Just overall, not as talent, but more so the system. What the Raiders had last season. They had to like start over from scratch. Yeah. Even though they have the talent, but it's just like, all right, now we don't have the quarterback plays kind of like up in the air. Like, what do we expect from that position? But this year, we'll see what Justin Jefferson does with a rookie quarterback. And who did they traded for the guy from San Francisco? Is he going to be the starter, or is it going to be
Sam Darnold?
Yeah, man. So we'll see what Justin Jefferson does with the quarterback room this year.
Well, to be fair to Justin Jefferson, last year he didn't have Kirk Cousins most of the year. He had third. He had like a guy they picked up basically off the street, and Josh Dobbs, and he still put up numbers. So
that's true. That's true.
So like I don't think it's a situation where the quarterback made him. Maybe like some of those previous years, you can kind of make the argument, but last year, like he still put up a G after coming off the injury and missing several games.
Yeah, no facts. And Daniel Kim says that overthrow was so bad, pitch and catch. Yeah, that was terrible. He was wide open, and that pretty much summed up the Raiders offense. If you want to use that as an example, like it was just out of sync. It wasn't for a lack of talent. It was just out of sync. It felt like every game it was just like, why are we having issues on offense? Why are players still kind of looking confused on the football field? And then as time went on, the frustration kept building and building and building, and finally, Mark Davis pulled the plug. He was like, "Nah, we can't continue this." And I was surprised that it happened, even though I knew he was going to get. I felt like he was going to get fired, but I thought it was going to happen near the end of the season, if not after the season. But it is what it is. He's gone. We got a new coach, and hopefully AP is that guy. Man, appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. all that good stuff, man. We're going live on both our channels, so you want to make sure you hit the like button on both. Clock in is what we like to say, man. Make sure to clock in. Man, hey, real talk in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. So what's good, fellas? Have a good show. Hey, appreciate you coming through. My guy, Real Talk Raider Nation, man. One of the Raider content creators out here. If you haven't subscribed, go over there. Subscribe to my guy, man.
Facts. Shout out.
But yeah, man. So that pretty much sums up like what we felt about the receiver documentary. A lot of gems, a lot of little moments where you're like, oh, okay, things that we kind of already expected. To be honest with you, I wasn't really surprised. I didn't hear anything. There was nothing that I heard like, oh man, this is crazy. But it was good to see. It was kind of good to see just to see how the players kind of interacted with each other and how they were just talking on the football field, and just proves everything that we've been talked about. And everybody that already was watching the football season, watching the games. That being said, let's move it along, man. Hey, man, it's that special time, man. It's flag on the play. Let me go ahead and
personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Hey, man, it's flag on the play, and this week, the guy that made the cut, it's not Raider related. No flag on the Raiders, but definitely a flag on Caleb Williams, your favorite quarterback in the NFL draft. The last 2 years, now I'm playing with you. But Caleb Williams hasn't signed his rookie contract. How do you not sign in the day and age where the rookies literally get paid on a pay scale? He's not signed. I wouldn't necessarily call it say that he's held out. Let me just play this clip of Ian Rappaport talking about the lack of first round picks are not being signed. It's specifically Caleb Williams. There's 5. So we got Caleb Williams, his other first round draft pick that the Bears drafted in that number 9 receiver, Rome Odunze. You got Dallas Turner. You got J.J. McCarthy, haven't signed yet. And Amarius Mims, I believe, hasn't signed as well. So it's kind of interesting that some of these guys haven't signed. They're probably going to sign at some point, but it's interesting that the fact that rookies don't get paid whatever they want. Like, long are the days of Jamarcus Russell missing the majority of the season and holding out, man. That was crazy, man. I've seen it. We've seen everything. If you've been a Raider fan, we've seen everything. But those days are gone. So
the rule is called, in some circles, it's called the Jamarcus Russell rule.
Right. For real. And I think was it after that? Did they change it?
Yeah, it was after that,
the whole situation. Yeah, man. So that was a tough situation for Raider fans. But let me go ahead and play this clip here.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't get the sense that this is one of those situations where it might have like a rookie holdout or there's panic. And I know it was Roquan in Chicago years ago. Different regime, different cap guy, different entire situation. No panic here. But, historically, generally, these deals get done right before they have to get done. So Rome Odunze's deal, I would be surprised if there's an issue there. Caleb Williams, a little bit of a different story. Now, he is eventually going to get a 4-year, $39.5 or so million fully guaranteed deal with most or all of his signing bonus up front. His situation's a little different because instead of an agent, he has more of, I would say, like a board of directors. He does not have an official NFL agent. He has an agent helping him, and then he has lawyers who are working on the deal. And sometimes, because of the way it's structured, this can take a little longer. Like many things in Caleb Williams', let's say, off-the-field situation business, it is a little unorthodox. It is a little not usual. But still, I would be surprised if there was an issue here. And even if there is an issue, you're right. Things don't really get really real until the veterans show up. So in due time, this one's going to happen.
So there you have it, man. So pretty much, just to sum it up, man, he doesn't have an NFL agent. And he has a team of lawyers, whatever you call it. Like he has a team that's kind of representing him. But what's interesting is that I think I think I read somewhere where it's actually against the rules for lawyers to negotiate contract. So so what it is that Caleb Williams is actually negotiating the contract.
Yeah, so he has lawyers advising him.
He has lawyers advise him. So this is a flag, man. It's definitely a flag on a play, man. And I'm glad he's not a Raider, man. But if he throws 50 touchdowns every season, then we're all gonna forget about this at the end of the day. But I'm gonna call it up like I see it. I feel like it's a big flag, man. What are your thoughts on this, Severe?
Yeah, man. It's as you said, man. Like Jamarcus Russell, he had that long holdout. His holdout actually ended up spilling into the season, as we all recall. And I think that kind of set him down a path that he never really recovered from. Now, I'm not saying Caleb is going to be the same thing, but it's ironic because I want to say in the 2021 season when Zach Wilson, when he was drafted, I think he ended up having a pretty long holdout as well, or he took a while for his contract to get done as well. So, and we see what kind of precedent that set for him as a quarterback there with the Jets. So, like you never want these things to happen early on, especially once training camp starts, because like I believe he can't participate if the contract isn't done. So you're a rookie quarterback, getting acclimated to the NFL, learning a new offense, getting comfortable with these receivers. You need as much time on task as possible. Perfect example, going back to our previous conversation, we see what a professional quarterback who's been in the league for years and Jimmy G, you see like the kind of effect that had on him not being able to be out there for training camp and get his timing, chemistry down with, these weapons, let alone a guy that's never played in the NFL before. So I think that, it's a slippery slope. They have rookie pay scale or rookie raise scale for a reason. It's to kind of avoid these things. But yet again, Caleb Williams, he has to do some Caleb Williams stuff. He thinks he's above it all. So we'll see if that works out for him.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any Bears fan, I mean, it's still time for him to sign, but it's like Severe was saying, like this is time where he could be, playing with, like he missed basically mini camps, all those mini camps where he could have had reps with his receivers. But to be fair, his teammate Roman Dunze hasn't signed yet too. So flag on him too, and all the first round picks, man, that haven't signed. So it isn't just Caleb Williams, but that's definitely a flag, man. But you know what? Like I said, this
ironically, the two quarterbacks I didn't want, Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy, are the two quarterbacks that ain't signed. Ain't that funny?
I know that's hilarious. But at the end of the day, man, all our first round picks are signed, man. As far as I think, not first round pick, our whole draft class I think is signed, right? I don't think anybody's.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't think anybody
right?
is left out. Yeah.
Right. And hey, you guys made some good point, man. I don't know how we forgot about this. Tim Brown, that's a good one.
I wasn't going back quite that far, but yeah, Tim Brown for sure.
As far as low key receivers, without a doubt, man. I think he exemplifies that too for sure.
Nah, definitely. That's Mr. Raider in my opinion.
Mr. Raider, facts, 100%, man. That's a good one, man. I don't know how we forgot about that. Rishi Rod. Let's see. He's talking about Carr missed the wide open Adams though on that Chiefs play. He was wide open, still overthrew Adams while on a tippy toes, and junior varsity QB hit Adams. That's why it was so upsetting. What are y'all talking about, man? I think y'all having conversations in the chat or something. Earlier sure. we were talking about bad misses. I was talking about bad misses. Man, see, that's the thing though. Before Antonio Brown, who would you say was probably the most diva receiver that we've seen? Like, where we like, man, this dude is. The first one that comes to mind for me is T.O.
It'd be T.O., but Randy too. Randy Moss too.
But it was different though. Randy was a little bit different. He was more like, I don't know. Randy was a little bit different. I don't think he was as loud as T.O. I don't think he was as loud.
Randy was loud as hell, man. Like remember Randy mooned Green Bay. He mooned the Green Bay fans.
But I didn't think that was a big deal though. I didn't think that was, but I remember he got fined, and
he got fined. He's like, they asked how he paid the fine. That's why you got the straight cash, homie. When you're rich, you don't write checks, homie. Which is ridiculous because all rich people do is write checks. Like it's like actually the opposite. Yeah. So yeah, so I think him and T.O. were right there. I think T.O. people paid more attention to T.O., but I think people paid attention to T.O. because his celebrations. Like he had the whole star celebration, and he had like the pom poms, then he had the Sharpie. Like the worst thing T.O. did was do sit-ups in his driveway. Like that was the thing that got T.O. Like T.O. doing sit-ups in his driveway. And T.O. saying, I love me some me. That was the
but
the
he
greatest
has some,
ever.
but he would have like stark controversies, like his press conference, the things that he would say.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a.
Yeah.
What did he say? He said something about Jeff Garcia. I was like, damn, like you say that about someone that you're gonna see in a locker room, like looks like a rat. What did he looks like a rat, smells like a rat? I think it was one of those crazy comments, but yeah, man.
And then
I think
Joe people forget Joe Horn was another one.
Joe Horn.
People don't remember Joe Horn. He played for the Saints.
With the Saints. I just remember he pulled out the cell phone. That's the celebration. I remember when he pulled out the cell phone at the. That's back in the day, man. That was crazy.
That was gangster. Who else? Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson wasn't really a diva. He was just
man.
He was just
having fun. He was having fun.
Exactly. Yeah, but people labeled him as a diva though.
Just because of like his antics as far as like celebration and stuff like that, but I don't know. I guess, but I
didn't see it as a diva, but you know,
yeah, not at all, man. I think T.O. The reputation is everywhere he went. Even his issues with the Eagles. I remember like everywhere he went, he just burned his bridge. I felt like, with whether it was the Eagles, but then you heard about how like a lot of people didn't like the quarterback at the time, Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb. I was about to say Davante Adams. Crazy. But yeah, let's get back into it, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Like I said, hey, look, at the end of the day, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Clock in is what we like to say.
Yes, sir.
We are going live on both our channels, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Man, the chat is going crazy. Matt Marinovich says, Tay still put up 1K after all the he did. That's true.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That is true, man. Hey, Reese Rock, man. In fact, hey, look, R.I.P. Jacoby Jones, man. What's going on, man? NFL has been dealing with some, some players passing away the last few weeks or this offseason, man. Jacoby Jones was kind of random. That kind of hit me like, whoa, like it's one of those guys growing up, especially with the Ravens. And did he have a return? Did he have a kickoff return in the Super Bowl for a touchdown? I think against the Niners, right?
I don't recall if he had one in the Super Bowl.
Let me know in the chat. I think he did have like a big return in the playoffs, at least, if not the Super Bowl. So Jacoby Jones, big part of the Ravens team, a supporting player, but he was a solid player for them.
Who did he play with before the Ravens? Was it the Texans? Was he with the Texans before the Ravens?
I think he did play with the Texans, and I think he might have played with the Steelers maybe a little bit, but more well known with the Ravens and possibly the Texans as well. Yeah. Big special teams guy, speedy guy.
Speedy guy, yeah.
But yeah, man, that was a surprise that he passed away this weekend. I'm not sure what the details were. I don't know if the details have come out like how he passed away, which is he died at age 40, young, bro. So
yeah, man,
it's crazy, man. Real Talk Raider Nation, man, says I'm all about players getting their money, but not when you haven't played it down in the NFL. Sign the contract and get to work. Yeah, man. And I think the big thing that's slowing down the process for a guy like, let's say, Caleb Williams, for example, because there's 4 other players outside of Caleb Williams that haven't signed a contract. I'm not sure if it's the same exact situation, meaning that they don't have an agent, but the main thing for Caleb, he doesn't have an agent. So that's kind of slowing down the process, which, if you're a Bears fan, if you're a fan of that team, it sucks because he's like, man, come on. Because when you're a young player and you miss most of, the offseason, it's kind of rare. I mean, especially a position like quarterback position, like that's an important position where you got to get timing and all these things down. Like I remember Joey Bosa, he missed a lot of the offseason. I think he signed. I think he was one of the last players that held out actually into the season. Then he didn't sign his contract until I don't know.
Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa?
Joey Bosa held out, I think, his rookie year, or he didn't play until later in the season. I don't know if he held out, but it's a guy that missed training camp and that he missed a little bit of that offseason. But pass rushers, that's an easy position for them to just pick up and just go compared to quarterback. So, it is what it is, man. But yeah, that's definitely a flag. And the chat is going crazy right now. Appreciate everybody coming through. Let's get into notable quotables, man. We gotta get something for notable quotables, man. I don't know what we gotta get, but we gonna get something. We gonna get like a sound effect.
I know, right? Get some kind of sound bite.
Something, man. So I'm gonna get this set up, man. I'm gonna put up a comment real quick while I get set up real quick.
Yes,
and I think Reese Rock has he was talking about
Randy Moss.
Randy was he was a diva, but it wasn't like T.O. T.O. was like way more louder, man, to me, compared to and I feel like you know what Randy was? He was a little bit more passive aggressive. A little bit too. I don't know. He was a little bit more passive. I don't know. It was something. I don't know. It was a difference between T.O. and Randy. I think they're both divas, but it was just more like.
I mean, Randy, I don't know, man. Randy was kind of he's kind of a diva, man. He was kind of a diva, man. I don't know. I think he was, but I think just that team. First of all, he played with the Vikings, so it wasn't like the same kind of circus as, in terms of the media, as the 49ers and as the Cowboys. Like,
right.
If Randy Moss had played for one of those teams, it would have been wild. It would have been wild. Just the nonstop coverage of him, everything he does. Like, he already is getting like crazy coverage because he's Randy Moss. But if he had played like for the Niners or for the Cowboys, like two of the biggest fan bases in the NFL, I think the coverage would have been a lot different.
Right. And speaking of Randy Moss, he's actually one of the notable quotables that we're gonna play today. If y'all just joining us, man, notable quotes, just quotes that we find interesting. Throughout this could have been a flag. I'm not gonna lie. I was leaning towards this being a flag just because the guy Randy Moss, his time with the Raiders didn't go exactly as planned. Definitely one of the most talented receivers I've ever seen on a football field, man. 6'4" guy, reportedly could run a 4.2 at that size, 40 plus inch vertical, exciting receiver, man. His last name is a verb in the football. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, it's getting mossed came from this guy. You know what I mean? And
kids don't say that no more, man. Unfortunately, kids don't say that no more.
Man, hey, I still say it. That's all that matters, man. What do they say these days, man?
The kids call it a head top now. I was like, yo, I'll be like, yeah, like, y'all too young, but everyone want to say pause every time they say head top. Like, yo, like, they call it a head top. Like, all right, you gotta watch out for that. I get to high school, you have to clean that up. But that's what they call it now. So, I got a son that plays football, so I'll be listening to like the 10, 11-year-old kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Yes. As time goes on, there's always going to be the player that kind of influences that whole generation. But so recently, not Davante, I keep saying Davante Adams, but Randy Moss was on, shout out to Up and Adams show. I think it's a podcast. And he was on there talking about, Davante Adams and the possibility of him, leaving the Raiders and all that. So let's hear what he had to say.
But should he chase a ring, Randy?
I don't see why he shouldn't. I really don't see why he should not chase a ring. I think that he's made all his money. He's made enough money. I don't say all of his money. He's made enough money. So I think for him to chase a ring, I mean, I chased one. A lot of players chase rings when they have, being let go of their organization. When I let go of Minnesota Vikings, I didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to go. And then I had an opportunity to go play for the Patriots. So I think for me, to go back to your question, the advice for him, just keep being yourself, man, and go get a ring. If he has an opportunity to get it, I don't think he has had an opportunity to be in the big game yet. And I think that when you sit up here and work so hard to get to a point, there's a lot of guys that has put in some great work in the National Football League that has never seen the Super Bowl stage. So I wish him well, and I want him to go get it. But
should he chase a ring, Randy?
I don't see why he shouldn't. I really don't see why he should.
So there you go. There you have it, man. That's Randy Moss talking about chasing a ring, Davante Adams. And he kind of went on to say and imply that, he should go play with his, it's the media. Randy Moss is part of the media now, but he's implying that he should go play with his former quarterback and Aaron Rodgers if that means going to the Jets earlier. Shout out to Raider Smoke. He talked about maybe Aaron Rodgers coming to the Raiders if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be something that'd be possible. We'll see. But what were your thoughts, man? Because when I hear Randy Moss, it's kind of like, stop being a hater, man. Why are you talking about the Raiders, man? Because and look, that he doesn't like the Raiders. I think he came back and they tried to show him some love. He tried to clean it up a little bit, especially coming back to the new stadium. But I'm just like, it's kind of bittersweet when anytime he's talking about the Raiders, man, I think it's just a little bit bittersweet, just because at the end of the day, like, his time with the Raiders didn't go as planned, and he's over here implying that, Davante should go chase a ring. Why can't it be with the Raiders? Just because your time with the Raiders didn't go well doesn't mean Davante can't do it over here with the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders they're putting together a defense. We got AP, a guy that got some potential as a head coach. We'll see how that works out. I understand it's a quarterback's league. I get it 100%. But man, there's other ways of getting to the bowl game without having the top 2 quarterback. We see it. It's hard. It's tough. Yeah. But there's other ways to get to the playoffs, to win a few playoff games, if not go to the Super Bowl. I think the perfect example is probably the 49ers. I think, in my opinion,
but
I say, because you know why? Because are you sold on Purdy being a top 10 quarterback? Brock Purdy, a top 10 quarterback? Are you sold on him?
No, but I mean, we're not even necessarily like him being the top 10 quarterback. Where is the cutoff for how good you have to be at quarterback to take your team all the way without like an all-time defense, right? Not without being like Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson. And people give crap to Brad Johnson, but Brad Johnson was a solid quarterback. Even when he was with Washington, he was solid. He's wasn't spectacular, but he was solid. What happened?
He was a game manager.
But he was solid. I mean, he was solid, So I mean, I think he's better than what Trent Dilfer was. I mean, is he better than what Aiden O'Connell is? I mean, we have yet to see, Aiden O'Connell in year 2, so we don't know what Aiden O'Connell will turn into. But I mean, let's say Brock Purdy is a top 20 quarterback. Like, can we say Aiden O'Connell is a top 20 quarterback right now? Nah, can we say Aiden O'Connell's a top 30 quarterback right now? That's maybe, right? So it's we got to see if he beats out Gardner Minshew. We're not even sure he'll beat out Gardner Minshew, right? We assume and we hope he does, but we don't know that yet. So, we could possibly have the worst starting quarterback in the league, possibly, right? So, how much harm would that do to our chances of being a winning team? I think that can do extreme harm, as evidenced by the Minnesota Vikings game. But I will say that the thing that I noticed about Randy is that you peeped how when he was talking about leaving the Vikings, he didn't mention I went to the Raiders and then went to the Patriots. He's like, I left the Vikings and I went to the Patriots. Like, bro, come on, dog. Like you were here. Like people remember you being here. So
yeah. But that's how he a straight hater, man.
Yeah, that's why I don't. Yeah, he was my favorite player until he came here, and then he laid the egg, bro. And I lost all respect for Randy Moss after that. So
yeah, because he
it is what it is.
He gave up. It was so bad. Teams weren't willing to trade for him, and the Patriots traded for a 4th round pick. That's how bad his stock was down, because he literally gave up on the football field to the point where people was like, oh, he lost a step.
Yeah,
and the Patriots come along.
But the speculation, to kind of bring this full circle, the speculation is that Brett Favre was pushing hard for Green Bay to trade for Randy Moss, and that there was a possibility that we could have had Aaron Rodgers in the trade. Now, some people say that's not true. I don't know how true it is, but that was some of the speculation at the time, that Green Bay Packers were willing to give up Aaron Rodgers. This is when Brett Favre was still entrenched as a starter for Randy Moss, and that the Raiders have essentially said no. So I don't know how true that is. That was a rumor at the time, man. So
damn, man. That's I don't even want to hear that, man.
But know what? And I just going back to an old conversation. Another low key receiver this is probably the lowest key receiver of all time. And I don't know why his name popped in my head right now. Andre Johnson.
Ooh, that's a good one. And
Andre
he was a great receiver, but like
he was a dog.
But I just remember
he had that one scrap though. He had that one scrap.
That was the loudest I've ever seen Andre Johnson. You never heard anything from Andre Johnson. He was just dominating on the football field with the Texans.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see ESPN Sports Center highlight breaking. It wasn't breaking news, but it was just one of the highlights of the weekend. And this is back in the day.
Yeah.
And you just see him going toe to toe with the corner at the time. I think it was Cortland Finnegan. Who was
Cortland Finnegan? Yes.
Yeah, cornerback for the Titans.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said or what he did, but he got Andre Johnson heated. To this day, I don't know what he said. I actually want to know. That was a crazy moment out there on the football field. But yeah, the Andre Johnson definitely is a good one. Man. But yeah, man, I just felt like that could easily been a flag on a play. That we made that a notable quotable, but that could easily been a flag because I was just like, when I was hearing him talk, I'm like, and the fact that you even pointed it out, and I caught that too as well. When he talked about his time after the Vikings, he did not mention the Raiders at all.
Yeah,
he's like, I had to figure out some things, and the Patriots came along. I'm like, bro, come on, man, you played for the Raiders. Why do you not want to talk about that? Are you ashamed? You're ashamed of your actions?
I will say this, in Randy Moss's defense, he also did not mention his time with the 49ers either. So I will say that.
Yeah, he didn't. But he did mention chasing a ring, and that was one of the teams he signed on.
He did.
Signed with to chase. Did he ever? I know he didn't win with the Niners, but like,
no,
he didn't win a ring, right? I don't think he did.
He never got one. No, thanks to Eli Manning.
Yeah, and another thing too as well is like, it didn't work out for him. It didn't really work out. I think with the Patriots, it would have been legitimate because he was a top player at his position still, and they literally was there at the Super Bowl knocking on the door. They're like undefeated that season. He had 20 plus touchdowns that season. I think might be the record holder for touchdowns in the season for a receiver, breaking Jerry Rice's record. I think possibly
for touchdowns.
Probably. I think Randy Moss might have. If anybody in the chat knows, I think Randy Moss. Let's see, wide receiver touchdown holder. Let's see, touchdown.
Single season
touchdown, most receiver touchdowns. Randy Moss currently holds the single season touchdown reception record with 23 in 2007.
23 touchdowns is insane, bro.
23 touchdowns, and he broke none other than, arguably the greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice. Like, Jerry Rice, if you just look at all the receiver records, Jerry Rice's name is
Jerry Rice has just about all of them.
Yeah, damn near. If not the number one receiver, he's right there next to the top receiver. So, but yeah, man, he goes to the Patriots, has 20 plus touchdowns, and the Giants came through, and Antonio Pierce, he wasn't a leader on that. He was a leader on that defense.
Yes, sir.
And he crushed the Patriots' dream with that defense. So hopefully he could bring that to the Raiders, and the Raiders can put out a good defense next season. We need that offense. That's the big question mark. That's the big question mark. But that's one of the notable quotables. And AKA flag on a play too. I'm just gonna throw it out there too as well, because I didn't like Randy Moss talking about Davante possibly leaving. You should be the last guy talking about that, but. Let me go ahead and play this other clip here, and I think this is Davante. You sent this over, Davante on AP.
Yes.
The one quality about Pierce that you value personally the most?
There's a lot, but if I had to choose one, I love a coach that really knows how to coach each individual player. Sometimes coaching everybody the same is not what you should do. You got to coach them fairly, but you treat guys, according to, what they've earned and what they deserve. And also, what makes them best as a player. So if you have a guy that's going to, cower up if you yell at him, then as being a good coach, sometimes you got to kind of tweak the way you approach them and do that. And he's really good with that. So really open communicator and doesn't let his pride get in the way, and it makes it
I think that last part got cut off, but he pretty much was stating that it just makes it easier for him to work with him based off his communication skills, pretty much, just to sum it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and that's a great quality to have, because one of the things that you hear a lot in sports right now is that you got some of these old school coaches, and then you got the new player, that new young player coming in, and there's a little bit of a gap as far as the communication and connecting to the player. And remember when guys like, John Gruden was getting hired, right? One of the questions mark, can he connect with the player nowadays? They're a little bit different breed of players. You can't. I'm not sure if you could communicate with them the same way you did back in the day. But now we got a guy that knows how to communicate with the players nowadays, and he knows how to motivate and get the players playing the way he wants them. And we'll see. A small sample size last season, so I don't want to just crown him just yet. But from what we've seen, how the season finished last season, AP seems like a guy that's on the right track, heading in the right direction. He has a vote of confidence from Davante Adams. So what were your thoughts on what Davante Adams had to say?
Yeah, man, there was a little bit of a shot in there at Josh McDaniels, a little baby shot in there at Josh McDaniels, but
passive aggressive.
Yeah, man. But I mean, I think that's why people gravitate toward Antonio Pierce. He's just a natural leader, and I don't. I mean, and part of that is the fact that he's a player. Part of that is that he's on the younger side in terms of head coaches. So I think he can relate to these guys a little bit more. He's like from the hip hop generation. He's riding around in lowriders, playing rap music. Like, he can relate to them on a level that some of these other guys can't. But that's not the only reason, right? Because you think it worked with Andy Reid. A lot of the players here, they talk about Rich Bisaccia, how great of a leader he was. So I don't think it's all a cultural thing or being a former NFL player or anything like that. I think part of it is just knowing how to lead men and knowing how to talk to people and treating people the proper way. Now, I can understand why some people, they kind of shy away from that method, just because then you have to treat people, you have to treat people differently. And you don't want, some people, they don't want to put themselves in a situation where they feel they're treating people differently. But at the end of the day, different people react differently to different things, right? Right. They react differently to different stimuli. So there are some people that are kinetic learners, or some people that are visual learners. There's different ways of learning things. And so if you try to treat everybody the exact same, you're not going to get the maximum result. So I think that's what previous regimes have done. And I'm glad to see that Antonio Pierce is not doing that and not making that mistake.
Yeah, no, facts. And that's that's one of the things that we're kind of hoping on and betting on that really works out, is that head coach finally get a head coach that can, build this football team, lead this football team back to the playoffs. We got people saying that Robert Sterling says Raiders are a dark horse. Let me put this out the way right here. He says Raiders are the dark horse in the playoff race. Yeah, I see that. I'm not sure the division just yet. I don't want to crown them just yet. I want to see how if defense lives up to what they need to be. We got to find out what that quarterback play is going to look like, and also there's some question marks with the Raiders a little bit. So we gotta. It is what it is, man. The Chiefs, they earned that title of being the team to be favored to win that division. It just is what it is. But I feel like the Raiders have a chance at getting that wild card spot for sure.
I think they have a chance. Every time, it's like funny you say crown. Every time I hear somebody say crown somebody, I think about Denny Green. Go to crown him, go ahead, crown.
Yeah. No, do I have that? I don't know if I have that, man. I gotta get that. That's that's a classic rant, man. That's a classic rant.
It's hilarious.
Raiders Rebel in the building says, why would anyone risk their lives to drink and drive, especially when you make millions in NFL? Stupid. Yeah, man, I think you're speaking to Jordan Addison, I think.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, man.
And he's not the only one. He's not the only guy that's doing it, man. It's just
but a lot of these guys are doing it, bro. And it's like nobody thinks it's going to be them until it's them, right? I'm sure we already know Henry Ruggs. I'm sure he's done it multiple times, and he's gotten home fine. He didn't think that day would be any differently. And I'm sure the people that that took the lives of Kyrie Jackson and his friends, I'm sure they had driven drunk multiple times, and then they thought they'd be fine. And and I'm same with Jordan Addison, right? So, and it's ironic that he just lost a teammate not that long ago, and then for him to go out there and do that, man, that's, like I said, man, some of these guys think they're invincible.
Yeah. Real Talk Raider Nation says, that's why I've said, will Davante Adams want a ring if he thinks we can't get him one? He's got a big contract, numbers coming up. Yeah. Like we talked about it a lot, like during the offseason. Like at some points, like we're like, hey, is this the time where the Raiders actually capitalize on a player that's still good and you can get some value on him and trade him before his value goes down? Because Davante Adams, obviously, we could have got a first. You could tell the Jets right now with Aaron Rodgers, they're in win now mode right now. So that means we can get a high quality pick just because of. I feel like the Raiders have the leverage. We have the player that they want that could fit in with Aaron Rodgers immediately. You know that it's a match made in heaven. But and then now you look at his contract. Is he gonna be? Is the ego gonna come in where he's like, you know what? Like, it's not like, we're in the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna take no pay cut. That might come into play. A little bit of ego might come into play. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know.
See,
so
I think we kind of missed our boat, man. Like I said, if it wouldn't make sense. Like last year would have been the time to do, or this past season when the Jets had a top 10 pick. Because if they trade for Davante now, like Garrett Wilson I think he's gonna take a leap next year and be in the conversation and one of the best receivers in the league. And then you add Davante Adams to that. I think they'd have an explosive offense. But I will say if we trade Davante, I think that makes that Brock Bowers pick look like that much better. Just because, that's like part of the reason I don't like the pick is because I don't think he's gonna get the maximum touches because Davante is here. I think we're gonna have to, do a lot of the scheming toward Davante. Now, if Davante wasn't here, then we're looking for a number one weapon. And we can scheme stuff open for Brock Bowers. That pick looks like 1,000 times better without Davante being here.
Right. And Trump CTAB 2024 says Randy was immature on how he handled it, but to be real, if I was Moss and came to that Raiders team, I'd be pissed too. Yeah. I'm be real. If you wanted to be like non-biased, like that Raiders were a mess.
They were a mess, bro.
From the late great Al Davis, just trying to win a Super Bowl, like literally all in one offseason. Like he would just be super aggressive and kind of hamper the team as far as their future goes because they're stuck with these bad contracts. You got to remember when McKenzie was the GM, like he had to like literally like he didn't have a first round pick. His first pick was in the third round. We were in salary cap hell. He had to get rid of all those bad contracts that from the years prior. When Al, signed some of these bad Javon Walker, that was a terrible contract. Javon, just to think of him.
Jabril Wilson, Javon Walker, Jabril Wilson. It was somebody else too.
Yeah, there were some bad contracts, but then obviously, like think about the quarterback play that we had. Andrew Walter, who was quarterbacking outside of Andrew Walter with Randy Moss? With Kerry Collins, did Kerry Collins quarterback a little bit? I think. His first
was it
year,
Kerry Collins? I think he did have Kerry Collins.
He had Kerry Collins a little bit, but I think Andy Walter came in. And it was just, it wasn't good at all. Quarterback play was terrible. That's not a good combination. You got terrible quarterback play, and you got a super talented receiver, a diva receiver at that. It's not a good combination at all. So you make a good point, but I just didn't like it, man. I like look, at the end of the day, everybody, it's a team sport at the end of the day. So when you kind of go out there and it just looks like you're not trying, it's just like, man, it's a slippery slope to play, man. Because I think other players are definitely watching you. You're the leader of the team. You're a veteran. Everybody's looking up to you. Like, come on, you're Randy Moss. Like, and you're over there giving up on routes. That's just a bad look. Let's see, man. Let's get into the chat, man. Look, so Milk Breeze. That's why he never won a ring too. He talked about chasing a ring, but he never won a ring. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's see, man. I'm trying to catch up on the chat right here. Let's see here, man. Moss had 23, 24. Yep. Wasn't it? Was it our pal? I could have sworn. I thought it was Jerry Rice. Let me see. I got to see what Jerry Rice. He had like in the 90s. He had one of those super. I think Jerry had like 20-some touchdowns in one of his seasons in the 90s. I think. So
it would make sense. I mean, like Jerry Rice had damn near every record known to man for a wide receiver. There's certain single game records. I think like the single game for yards in a single game, I think somebody else had it. It wasn't Jerry Rice. It was like somebody you would never think. I think Calvin broke that one, I want to say. And Calvin broke for yards, and he broke Jerry Rice's yards in a single season. But
Super Omnicron got a question for you. He says, Severe, do you think they will make a move to secure picks by trade deadline if Minshew or AOC doesn't win effectively?
Secure picks, like where the Raiders make a move to secure picks, like for next year's draft.
Yeah, are you talking about Davante?
Yeah, talking about Davante.
Or are you talking about making a trade for a quarterback?
I think he's talking about making. I think he's talking about securing picks for Davante. to possibly move up. Yeah, to possibly move up for a quarterback. I think. See, that's the thing. That's why I say that the opportune time to do it was last year when the Jets had the high pick, because really the only situation that makes sense. Well, there are two situations that make sense for Davante to be traded to, right? And that's to the Jets or to the Saints. Because you don't want to throw him to a team mid-season where he doesn't know the quarterback. Those are two guys he's very familiar with. He already has some built-in chemistry with them, and it wouldn't take long for that chemistry to kind of reignite. Of course, he'd have to learn the offense again, but like those quarterbacks for the most part, they're going to have a lot of say in what happens in the offense. So he can go to either one of those situations. I think it'll be not quite a seamless fit, but it'll be a better fit than he would be able to have anywhere else. So, but like that's the thing about NFL, like these big moves, like the NFL is not the NBA. Like these big moves generally don't happen at like mid-season. Like they're usually off-season type moves. So I honestly I don't see it happening unless he like demands a trade. I don't see us doing it.
Yeah, and Greasy Rock says Calvin almost broke the record versus us. Started 1-5 with 30 yards, then 5 catches later, post half, 180 yards. You're talking about, I think Hugh Jackson was the head coach at the time, and it was that game where like I don't know how or why, but Rolando McClain was guarding Calvin Johnson on one of those deep throws, deep touchdowns from Matt Stafford to Calvin Johnson, man. That game, man, that game haunted me, man. That game haunted me for two reasons. Because first of all, Jamarcus Russell was holding out that game, and then Calvin Johnson went out there and cooked us. It was like, bro, the guy I wanted us to pick. Did he? No. I don't think that. I think this is after Jamarcus Russell.
Well, after that particular game was after Jamarcus, but the very first game that Calvin Johnson played as a pro was against the Raiders, and he had a touchdown too.
Yeah,
like the Raiders versus.
But I think the game that he's talking about, I think might have been the second game then.
That was a different year because we weren't that because like our week 1 game that year was against the Lions.
Yeah. Shout out, hey man, people in the chat want to know where you got your hat at, man. Do you want them to hit you up on social?
Yeah. Hit me up on social media. I'll let y'all know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, hit them up on social media. The Severe Raider on IG, Twitter. I think IG. Would you say preferably IG?
IG. Yeah.
The Severe Raider, man. He'll let you know exactly where he got the hat at, man. Yeah, definitely fire hat. Kalipe says, I would even line Davante in the backfield, but run routes either to the flats or a regular route. Just try to confuse the defense, and they don't know how to key on Davante. Yeah, at this point, man, I want to let's start with having a good run game. and getting some of these players on offense involved, man. Like, come on, we got weapons everywhere. It's not even just Davante Adams. And you know what? Let's actually, before we get into the what's real, what's not, let's actually talk about one of the training camp battles. And I think the theme of the show right now is that receiver position led by Davante Adams. But that's set in stone. Davante is the number one. Number two, Jacoby Myers, obviously, is that number two guy. But after that, is there? Would you say there's a battle with that number three spot, or you think Trey Tucker has that locked down, or is it that number four spot? Like after the first two receiver spots, that's where it's kind of like, all right, who are we? How's the depth chart look after Davante and Jacoby Myers? Let me see if I can pull up the depth chart so y'all can see exactly who is.
Yeah, Trey Tucker, Michael Gallup.
And we signed some undrafted free agents. That might
Tulu
have,
Griffin. I don't think those guys are really, honestly.
Yeah, they would have to be like put on a show.
No,
the training camp and to even make the team. Let's see. Let me see if I can put this up here. But yeah, Michael Gallup, I think, and Trey Tucker, I think you could say, like, all right, the two guys that probably battling for that number three spot. Do you, if you had to put your money on it, who do you think takes that number three spot?
I put it on Small Fry. I guess I think he's gonna. Like I think dude is, he's. Like we don't have any deep threats, man. So I think that if we want to have any real speed on the field, it's Davante. He's a good athlete, but he's not really a burner. Jacoby Myers not a burner. Brock Bowers, he's fast for his size, but he's still like a 4 or 5 guy, so he's not like a true burner. So I think the only real speed guy we have is Trey Tucker. Then Antonio Pierce has been talking him up. He said he's had one of the best off seasons of any player. So I think it's pretty clearly going to be him, but I can see Michael Gallup, making a push. But I think at the end of the day, Trey Tucker, just that speed element is going to win out.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull up here the depth chart. Let's see. I don't know if y'all can see it. Can y'all see it? Let me know if y'all can see it here. Boom. Let me see if I can make it more visible for y'all to see. So as you can see on the screen, we'll start right here. Obviously Davante Adams. You got Alex Backman. He's not making a team.
Nah.
You got Jeff Foreman. Not making a team.
He ain't making a team.
Michael Gallup. He's that veteran. I see him kind of like, all right, there might be a possibility there. But you make a good point though. Like looking at the receiver position right now. The two starting receivers, they're not speed guys. Talented receivers, but they're not speed guys. So you probably want someone that can complement the players that we already have on the field. We got two talented tight ends. You want a guy that could be a speedy guy. And it's not just high praise from just Antonio Pierce, like you said, but it's also high praise from Davante. Like Davante over here talking about, like, when I came in as a rookie, I didn't come in like this. Like, this guy's mature beyond his years, yada, yada, yada. So he's kind of been building him up last year as a rookie, and then now you hear AP talking about him during the offseason, how this guy he's ready to go, prepared. But this is right now what the receiver room looks like right now. You got DJ Turner, that's probably at best special teams guy, not going to be. Yeah. So it's like,
I don't know, man. And if DJ Turner is a good special teams player, but if a guy like Ramel Keaton or Ladidra Griffin, if they show out, like DJ Turner might not be long for the team, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Jalen Guyton was a guy like, all right, can he offer some speed at this point in his career? Like, is a guy that can come in and maybe compete for but we haven't heard too much. He kind of missed a little bit of the offseason mini camps and, program. He kind of missed a little bit. So I'm not sure if he even makes a team, to be honest with you. I think he might be a guy that gets cut at in training camp as well. So, and how many receivers do the Raiders carry? Is it 4, 5? Maybe that fifth guy is going to be a special teams guy?
And we're gonna run a lot of 12 personnel. We're gonna probably have to keep 4 tight ends, so it might take away from some receiver spots, maybe 5.
Right.
Like Christian Wilkerson is a guy that looked good last preseason. They kept him around all season, but I think part of his advantage last year was the fact that he came from that Josh McDaniels system. So, like, does he keep that? He loses that advantage this year. So, is he good enough as a player without having the benefits of being, well versed in the system to justify having a roster spot? That remains to be seen. And he's not older, but he's a little bit on the older side. He's like 27 or 28. So I'm not sure if he's a guy that sticks, especially if Tulu Griffin or Ramel Keaton, if they show well in training camp or show well in preseason. Like I was saying, like those are 2 guys that, especially Laditra Griffin, like this guy, I think has a lot of talent. So, and he offers some return ability as well. So, like he could be snatching some roster spots off that alone.
Yeah, and that's going to be key too. Guys that are what are they gonna offer in special teams? You know what I mean? Especially with the rule changes, like that's gonna probably impact some of the guys that might be that get kept on the roster, is because they can offer that value. We got a 6th-round running back this year that offers some special teams ability as a kick returner, Dylan Lobby, and a punt returner as well. So obviously Trey Tucker, he played a little bit of special teams, but I think that 5th spot, I think definitely got to add a little bit. 5th, 4th spot, hopefully can bring. I think Gallup might get that 4th spot, Trey Tucker that number 3 spot, and that 5th spot maybe might be a young player that can offer that, special teams ability right there. And hopefully maybe a speedy guy, another speedy option, just in case. Because if Trey Tucker goes down, and man, like it kind of just hurts the offense a little bit, just because we wouldn't have another guy that could be a speed guy out there. So to have that maybe on the back end, maybe just to slowly bring him on if it's a young player too, and he just being a special teams player, and then just here and there have some snaps where he comes in the game. I think that could be big. But yeah, man, that training camp battle. And last week we talked about corner. This week we're talking about wide receiver. And I think it's that number 3 spot, that number 3, 4 spot. Like, what does it look like? And I think Trey Tucker, it seems like he's probably in the lead for that 3rd spot as a receiver, man. So,
I concur.
Yeah. Man, I hit me up on the back end. I got you, Reese. He's talking about the music in the back. I got you. Man. It's pretty smooth. I know. Let's see, man. But yeah, man. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the training camp battle. Let's get into what's real, what's not. I think you have some good what's real, what's not topics here, and it's mostly the leaning on the topic of the show, which is obviously Davante Adams. And the first what's real, what's not, we're gonna have to get some visuals and sound effects, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We got flag on the play down pat, but we gonna upgrade a little bit here, man, because this come on, man. We got the names and everything. We don't got the we're gonna hook it up for y'all, man. Look, Davante, he had some interesting comments on how the team felt about McDaniels. This is the what's real, what's not. We say a statement. Just shout out to anybody that's just joining us. You just react to it and let us know in the chat. Is it real or is it not? And obviously we're going to talk about it. So he says, if Davante had some interesting comments on how the team felt about McDaniels. If they had won all of their 1-score games in 2022, first year that McDaniels was a head coach, he would still be the head coach of the Raiders. So pretty much what you're essentially saying, the Raiders would have made the playoffs in 2022.
Yeah.
Then he still would be. I kind of agree with that statement. Because in my opinion, I believe that, like, you come in, you live up to what the offseason hype was all about. When you have all these big-time additions on offense, led by Davante Adams, Chandler Jones obviously was a big. So that means all these things were working out. We're winning these close games. Guess what? Derek Carr will still be a Raider. Let's keep it real.
Yes.
If you win all these close games, that means Derek Carr is playing well. He's playing well in this offense. He's playing well when it counts with Josh McDaniels. So the whole just expectation and on how this team is going to do moving forward with McDaniels is going to be on the up and up.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree. He definitely would still be here, but that's not what happened. It was 2022 was a disappointment. Derek Carr experiment failed. It didn't work out. He was a scapegoat, obviously, but we all had our little doubts about McDaniels after that season, and it bled into the next season. And the offseason was kind of questionable as far as the moves that they made. They kind of were not as aggressive after that first year. And then they go after, Jimmy G. That was like their first big time addition to the team, is go after Jimmy G.
Yeah.
And then he has a surgery, like literally the day that he was supposed to sign. They announced like, oh yeah, he had to do like a surgery on his, was it on his? He had foot surgery, I believe.
Yeah.
Which Davante talked about it in the documentary, like how that affected their timing and the reps that they missed throughout the whole, because they never played with each other. So they had to figure that out, and they never did figure that out. So I agree. I think that's real. I think if McDaniels would have won, meaning gone to the playoffs that first year, he still would be a head coach for the Raiders for sure, without a doubt. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it was just interesting, just seeing what Davante said about McDaniels. And we don't know how true this is, but essentially he was like, guys didn't necessarily like dislike Josh McDaniels. It was just, just the losing. And then, you get the losing happens, and then you come in film session, and they beating you down in film session, and that just kind of started wearing on guys, where it's like, like we don't want to put up with this anymore, because if we're getting berated like this, but we're not getting the results, then what's the point? So I just feel that that's what kind of set us off on a bad trajectory, right? I think we lost the first 3 games. We lost. I think they were all 1-score games, and we lose all 3 of them, and then we finally get that win. And most of our losses that year, except maybe I think the Saints game was the only game we really kind of got blown out in, but pretty much all our other games were 1-score losses. And Davante talked about how he felt the team was a great team, and that they either didn't start fast enough or they didn't finish strong enough. And I think that was ultimately the downfall of the team. And as you said, I think if we have a better year that year, we probably keep Carr at least one more year. And, we keep, Josh McDaniels, even if he has, if he does well that first year, even if the last year was a repeat of itself, I think they would still give him one more year to kind of right the ship. But the fact that he came out the gate, with a very underwhelming first year, then a very underwhelming half of his second season, you kind of had to make that decision to move on from him. But just seeing the interactions with between him and Davante on receivers, it was interesting. He after something happened, he went up to Davante, he explained it, yada, and Davante said his piece. He was like, "Man, I love you." And Davante was like, "Yeah, man, I love you back." And I was like, "Okay, well, damn," And I think Davante has spoken in the past that Josh McDaniels and his staff, they gave him more input than anywhere he's ever been. And the fact that even they even let him do the receivers show, like most head coaches, not even Patriots guys, just most head coaches, period, are going to say no. And that's just what it is. And I think, and just reading that comment, I mean, Davante's always spoken well about McDaniels, even Max. The only person I think that really had an issue with him was Josh Jacobs. I think Max and Davante, the other 2 guys, they always spoke well about him. So maybe that was fake. But I'm not here to speculate. I'm going by what the guys say, and I don't think that Davante's not the kind of guy I think that would BS. If he's going to give it to you like it is, or he's not going to say I like him if he doesn't like him. He's just going to say, you know what, we had a player coach dynamic, and at the end of the day, he was my coach, and I followed his lead. He's not going to go out and say out of his way, but I like the guy. We had a good relationship. If that wasn't the case.
Even a better, right now, that's the past at the end of the day. You know, Josh McDaniels is long gone. But
Yeah.
going back and thinking about it, like looking back at that first year, that pass offense was just as bad as it. I don't want to say just as bad, but it was still out of sync.
Yeah.
Not as bad as 2023, but it was still out of sync. The best part of the offense in 2022 was the run game, led by Josh Jacobs. But if we had this same run offense, the way if we ran the ball the way we did in 2023, would Josh McDaniels be back as a head coach for the Raiders? You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure, because that means we probably wouldn't be in those 1-score games. There'd probably be a little bit, probably be losing a lot less, or a lot. The score wouldn't be as close.
If you look at, I don't remember the exact rankings, but our offense that first year, I think we had a top 10 offense. Like, you still had a top 10 offense. Now where there's some empty calories in there, that there were some empty calories, but look at it, we were in a lot of close games, so that there weren't too many empty calorie stats to go up with that. And even our rushing attack, with having the league's leading rusher, we were like 17th or 18th in rushing, so we weren't like some great running team. Josh Jacobs had a great year, but as a team, we didn't run well at all. And the fact that Josh Jacobs would just never leave the field, like he would like allow other guys to get on the field and run the ball. Every time they would try to sub him out, he would wave guys off, and the coaches gave him that kind of power. So, that I think that kind of hurt our rush offense as well. So, it helped Josh Jacobs because he was in the contract year, of course. But I don't think it helped the team. So, but I think our pass offense wasn't horrible. It's just that we turned the ball over a whole bunch.
Yeah. Assuming I'm crying Davante, I'm going to get killed when Jimmy G was in there. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't like Jimmy G when we signed him. Hey, look, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I called it out. I was never a big Jimmy G guy. I didn't think he was that good. I thought he was always surrounded by top tier talent, top play caller, top offense, top defense with the San Francisco 49ers. And what he put out was, you know what I mean? Okay. You know what I mean? And the 49ers were able to get by and win games, but he took the credit. You see how that works, man? Quarterback sometimes gets they get a lot of credit than they should, and sometimes they get a lot of blame more than they should. So it's a tough situation. And the same goes for head coaches too. But he comes to the Raiders and they're expecting him, oh, well, he's a fit with the Raiders. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think he's – but I was kind of hoping. When you start hoping a little bit, you kind of knew what was coming a little bit with Jimmy G at quarterback. But, he just couldn't stay healthy. Maybe injuries probably messed up a little bit his confidence, his career a little bit, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, I just felt like, I thought someone was fishy with McDaniels, because there were just certain situations where when you're up by 20-something points, you're up by 17, we shouldn't be losing games. There was too many games in that 2020 season where I was just like, yeah, Carr's playing terrible, but you're also not coaching a hell of a game out there, and it just seemed like there was a little bit of scapegoat. But that's in the past. But yeah, man, that was a good what's real, what's not. But we got one more for you. And this we touched on it a little bit as far as like all these rumors that we're hearing, the media's pushing out of, Davante going to the Jets. We just heard a sound bite from Randy Moss talking about how Davante should chase a ring, and he also went on to say that he should possibly team up with his former quarterback and Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Yeah.
Second notable quotable: Davante Adams won't finish his career as a Raider. So, is that real or is it not? I'm gonna let you lead with this one.
I'm gonna say that's real, man. I'm gonna say that's real, because I think Davante is going to. I think he's going. I mean, he has a kind of game that's going to age well, but if you look at what wide receivers are getting paid right now, I think Justin Jefferson just got $35 million. We are, you spoke earlier about Davante's contract. That's going to blow up pretty soon on us, and he might be in a situation where if we're not winning, he'd be like, "Bro, I ain't taking no pay cut." It's like, it's like. So, do you want to pay a wide receiver that's kind of on the downslide of his career that type of money. Because at that point, that contract, that's diminishing returns, right? You're not getting the full bang for your buck if he's not like Davante Adams, top 3 receiver in the league. Like if he's like Davante Adams, top 10 receiver, then it's like, okay, well, do I really want to pay that much money to a top 10 receiver, especially an older guy, when I can invest that money elsewhere? So I just, I don't think he'll finish his career with us. I think he'll get to the end of the line, play 1 or 2 years somewhere else, ring chasing like Randy Moss, and then he'll walk off into the sunset.
So you're pretty much predicting that he leaves after this season.
Not after this season. I think maybe because how many years is left on his deal? Just this one more? Or I thought he had 2 more.
Perfect timing. So I have this is Spot Track here, and let me move this out the way so y'all can see here. Can you see? Let's see if I could zoom in a little bit. So this is the contract details of Davante Adams. You can see 2025, right? Next year he's definitely going to be on the roster. He's playing for the Raiders, but the following season is 2025, right? So you see $35 million base at signing. So he already got that already. And let's see, did they restructure this? But look, let's look at the cap hit though. You see that? See the cap hit? 12 million, 14 million, 25. Boom. Right there, man. That's a
44 million.
That's 44 million. So they're going to have to renegotiate, do whatever they can. They want to continue to have Davante on the team. I'm sure the Raiders are going to try to do that. They know that he's a talented player. I think he's going to continue. I think his game will age well. He's a route runner. You know what I mean? It's a lot of skill to his game.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's athletic as well, too, but I think he has a game that can age well because he's skilled as a receiver. Guys like, for example, like Dez Bryant, it didn't age well a little bit because it was a lot of physical ability. You know what I mean? So that he kind of had a short prime. But guys like Davante, I feel like they can play a little bit longer compared to other receivers. But this cap hit is big, man. So there might be something to it. I think that man, I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go the other way and say that this is not real. And hold up. You said that it's not real, that he's not gonna finish. What was the original statement? I think it was Davante Adams gonna be? Let's see. Oh, you said Davante Adams will not finish his career as a Raider. I think that's not real. I think the Raiders will find a way to keep him. I think he'll renegotiate. But this all is dependent on the Raiders winning. If the Raiders continue to win, I think they're going to continue to attract talent. They're not. Hey, if you look at the way their roster is constructed right now, we're not. It's not like we're paying a quarterback top tier money. So that's going to leave some cap space. We're going to have cap space next year. So we're going to have the ability to sign some key players at some positions, resign some of these players. And if we have another good draft, I think I can see Davante buying in. He's already bought in right now with AP. And if it continues, they continue to win, he's going to want to stay close to home. And he's going to want to be like, hey, Northern California. He's from Northern California. I know he wants to win, but if he feels like, hey, there's a chance the Raiders, they're building something here, I think he'll find a way to make it work. Maybe spread out some of this cap hit, do whatever it can, spread out some of this money. And I think it can work out. But I think it's all dependent on the Raiders winning. And if they can do that and he's fully bought in, I think he'll stay a Raider, man. He has like guys in his corner, like, let's see if I can move this real quick. He has guys in his corner like a Max Crosby and stuff like that vouching for him. So I'm sure he's going to find a way to stay on this team. I think he likes being a Raider. The diva in him comes out every now and then, but I think he stays. It's just really dependent on the Raiders winning. If the Raiders don't win and the quarterback play is lackluster, which I don't think is going to be as bad as it was last year. It can't get any worse than last year. I think it will be better. It will be better.
Better, but
because they'll be
how
prepared.
much better is a question, huh?
Because I think they'll be way more prepared. They'll be prepared. Okay, they know what they have in AOC. They know what they have in Minshew. They know that these are guys that they're not going to really lean on to take over games. So if that run game can get going, play action, rely on yak, you know what I mean? The yak ability of some of these players. That's kind of like Brock Bowers, you know what I mean, figure out a way to get that guy the ball, which, hey, man, if the OC for the Raiders, Lou Getsy, can figure that out, that's going to be huge. You got guys like Michael Mayer, second year. You know, look out for him for having a big season. You got Jacoby Myers, obviously Davante. Like, there is a scenario for this to all work. They have the talent. It's just it's a kind of a wait and see game. We got to see how it shakes out. But I see Davante staying. I see Davante staying, man. I feel like he wants to be a Raider. I think he wants to stay a Raider. I'm gonna believe on that hype, man. This is the 50-50 show at the end of the day, man. It's gonna be it's two different perspectives.
What about Telesco though? What does Telesco think about this?
Hey, Telesco is getting paid by Mark Davis, so he's gonna Davis. As much as we like to think that he's hands off, I think there's a little bit of a I don't want to say a little bit of Al in Mark, but he's kind of put himself in situations where he's kind of been the decision maker for the team. You know, he said in the past that he'll hire a guy, some football guy that will oversee the GM and kind of put him a little bit way away from the football. But we haven't seen it yet. So, and if a guy like Mark Davis is a big fan of, you know, Davante Adams, wasn't there like a quote by, I don't know if it was Al Davis or whatever, it was a quote back in there where they were saying that one of the biggest things that Al Davis feared or thought about Mark Davis was that he got too close to the players.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you get too close when it comes time to make those tough decisions. Can you make them? But you know, he made a great decision last season getting rid of Josh McDaniels. So give him credit a little bit there, but we'll see.
He allowed them to get rid of Carr. You know, that was basically the franchise quarterback for a while. He let them get rid of Carr. He let let Josh Jacobs get up out of here. So I don't think he's above letting the guy go. I think he does get attached, but I think at the same time, like I think Davante spoke about it, like Mark Davis is not always around the facility, right? He's like kind of pops in time to time. He's not really there on the day to day to kind of see what the coaches are doing and stuff like that. So I think that if Tom Telesco makes a compelling enough argument, I think he can convince Mark Davis, especially if it's going to save some money, and he can talk about where else he can put that money into other places, and still keep the team competitive. I think Mark Davis will. I think he'll be open to it.
Right. It just really depending on how he feels about the player, the temperature of the team, because he kind of like Mark likes to take a lot of input from outside sources too, as well, like, and help before making his final decision. So, and he kind of low-key kind of includes the fans in that too. I think he listens to Raider Nation a little bit. I don't know whether good or bad, I don't know, however way you want to take it, but he does listen to what's going on with Raider Nation, how they feel about the team. And he probably heard Raider Nation about guys like Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels, and eventually I think he gets some other guys' input on it too as well before he makes the decision. But Raiders Rebel says, I believe Davante knows he can win here, and the Super Bowl is very close, or he would have left at the end of last season if he did not believe in AOC.
I don't think it has anything to do with AOC.
Yeah, I think it's more about AP.
I think it's more about Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce, the locker room, the team, the quality of life. Let's be honest, the quality of life.
Yeah.
Playing in a great stadium. I'm sure they treat him well out there in Las Vegas. He's not too far from where he's originally from, Northern California, and his ability to kind of like move from there and go to different places. Like, it's a lot different from living in Green Bay compared to like Las Vegas and Northern California, like different lifestyle. So I think he took that into consideration too as well. And then just bringing in family to go watch him play too. It's easy to probably, I think it was a comment he made, I think, was it last season before, where he was talking about like getting his grandparents to come.
Yeah, they never seen him play before live.
Stuff like that, small things like that really matter to guys like that as they age, and they're more family oriented and stuff like that. So, sometimes it's not what's going on football team and football field. Sometimes it's outside things too as well. So, But I see Davante staying. I think it's just really dependent on winning. And man, I think that what will set it in stone, that quarterback position. That's what's gonna set it in stone. As far and also winning too as well. But
yeah.
But I think that's gonna set it in stone as far as like if we can get a quarterback for Davante, then this won't even be a question. We won't even be talking about this.
Not at all. And I think that most people around the league, I think most Raider fans at some point were operating under the assumption that we were going to draft a quarterback or we were going to trade up to draft a guy, whether that be, whoever, pick your quarterback of choice, right? Whether that be Jaden Daniels, who I think most Raiders Nation wanted, Michael Penix, some people had thought us trading the number one, or Caleb Williams, or whoever it was, right? I think a lot of people thought we would draft a quarterback last year. I don't think like Davante hates AOC or is completely out on him. I think he's just like it's like kind of whatever on him, right? He's like whatever on him. I think he thinks he can get the job done, but I don't think he's going to make any major life decisions based on like what he saw last year from Aiden O'Connell. Like I don't think that is the major factor in it.
Right, man. People chiming in right now. He also know he won't be. Yeah, man. Money's a big factor. So that's and I think that's your point too, as well, is the fact that like it's that contract, and will he be willing to renegotiate? Because that's when the real comes out. Like, all right, he's gonna be like, you know what, renegotiate my contract. Like I don't know if I want to do that when I can go somewhere else and have better quarterback play, have a better chance to win, and get paid as well. If there's an opportunity like that out there, or at least something close to at least winning with a better quarterback where he can, maximize his ability. Because we just talked about how like Davante got a little bit of diva in him. Like he wants the ball at the end of the day. Like he's a competitive guy. So, and he's been spoiled with Aaron Rodgers for most of his career. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it shakes out, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show, man. Make sure to clock in at this point. Clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. We're going live on both our channels, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. We wanted to come through, talk some Raider football. Hey, man, next week, I think next week is when training camp starts. Sorry about it right now. I was saying it's right around the corner. It's literally next week. So training camp is literally going to be starting next week. The rookies and veterans are going to be reporting the training camp. We'll be able to talk about like all the noise that's coming out of there, all the position battles. We kind of got into a little bit today. It was mostly about Davante Adams, man. That we watched a documentary. We talked about that. We talked about the receiver position being a little. There might be a little position battle there for that number 3 spot, 4 spot possibly. We'll get into more position battles as time goes on. I think next week we probably should get into like, man, running back. Running back would be a good one. Obviously, we talked about corner. What's another position? I mean, that we're leaving out. Quarterback. That's a good one.
I think it's the biggest one.
That's the biggest one, man. That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
But I guess we're waiting until training camp starts to talk about that one, so we can hear some big time news, because that's literally going to go down to the wire. That's going to be the biggest one. So, but yeah, man, appreciate everybody coming through, man. Make sure on the way out, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Severe, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff, man. Your last thoughts on the show.
Yes, sir, man. So you guys know what it is. The Severe Raider on YouTube, the Severe Raider on IG, the Severe Raider on X, the Severe Raider on Snapchat, all that good stuff. Yeah, man, I've been dropping some stuff. I'm dropping some shorts. About to be dropping some other stuff real soon, man. Just getting everything calibrated and getting everything together. But we're gonna be dropping some stuff real soon, man. Some interesting stuff. A little bit different content. We'll see how people react to it. But yeah, I got some stuff bubbling up real soon. I know dude kept asking me about the hat. If you want to know where the hat, bro, just hit me on my IG at the Severe Raider on Instagram, man. I will shoot you the link for that. But yeah, man, hey, man, great show. Excited for training camp, man. Can't wait to see how this thing goes.
Yeah, no, facts, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, we're here every Monday nights, man. So make sure to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live every Monday nights, man. The 50-50 show. The Around the Shield show is on hiatus a little bit, but we gonna get back to it with our guy Big Mike Raider. So make sure to be on the lookout. Hope possibly we might have a show this week. But hey, hit that notification bell so you'll know when we drop that episode of Around the Shield with my guy Big Mike Raider, obviously the Severe Raider as well. But hey, if anything, we'll be back here next week, 50-50 show, like we always do, man, to talk Raider football, anything that's going around the NFL, but mostly the Raiders, man. That's what we about, man. We like talking about the Raiders, and we finally, man. Hey, it felt like a short offseason. It went by really quick. We were talking about, man. Yeah, we were talking about how slow it's gonna be, and there's nothing to talk about. But it was, hey, we kept it going, and next week is training camp, so we're gonna have plenty to talk about. We're gonna be talking about like, hey, all the little small details of as far as how these battles are going in training camp, who's winning them. Obviously, the biggest is that quarterback position. So we'll wait to talk about that. But there are other battles as well that's happening. We talked about corner. We talked about we'll get into like running back, that third down role. Who's gonna be that guy? I know everybody's a big Dylan Lobby fan right now. We'll see if he could win it out in training camp. Rookie 6th-round running back. We'll see how that shakes out. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see preseason and seeing how I want to see how the offense looks. I want to see how Zamir White looks. Do you think Zamir? You think the starting offense is going to be out there in training camp, especially with the rule changes and them getting rid of like that preseason game? And in years past, we didn't really see like Derek Carr play out there, but with the quarterback battle being so close and being,
you mean preseason or do you mean
preseason? Preseason, yeah.
Oh yeah. Nah, I definitely think, especially because I think we're still in the evaluation process, at least for Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So I definitely think those guys will both be out there, and because that's all part of the evaluation, man. So I think that it would be negligent for them not to have those guys play preseason games. So,
oh man, hey, Rich, he got jokes, man.
Man.
Yeah, man. But hey, look, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure, like I said, to clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's been a great show. Hey, man. Hey, till next time, man. We'll see y'all next week. If not this week, possibly Around the Shield episode. If not, 50-50 show. Hit that notification bell. You'll be notified, man. Hey, man. Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.